Hey everybody, this is Dr. Brooke Goldner, and I am so excited right now to share with you one of my favorite people in the world. This right here is my mother, Regina Goldner. Now listen guys, this is her social media debut. She's never been on camera before. She is sweating and scared, but I told her you guys are going to be so kind and sweet. There's nothing to worry about. And I'm just really excited that she's willing to come on here with me because listen, while it is that food is what finally cured me of lupus 14 years ago, this is a person who really saved my life. My mom has been by my side from the beginning. My tears are starting now and we'll continue the rest of them. But she is the most incredible woman. She has been my strength. She has kept me focused. I always felt so loved and supported and taken care of my whole life. And so I'm just so excited now that you can meet her and feel her heart, and also to share our story in a different way. You guys see me talking all the time about what it was like when I was sick or what it was like when I was healing, but really the person who I think suffered the most when I was sick was you. And now that I'm a mom, I totally know that that's the case. And I wanted to be able to share her story too, because I wasn't the one that had lupus by myself. We did. And when you're sick, it affects the people who love you the most. And I think it's an important thing because I know a lot of you guys are not just sick, but there's some of you that have sick kids or sick loved ones. And I think it's important to also know that you too have to take care of yourself and that you too are on a journey. And I thought maybe you could help them as well. So thank you, Mom. Thank you for being on camera. Even though it's uncomfortable, I really appreciate it. So I guess I just wanted to start with, I tell my story all the time of me getting sick, but when we were talking the other day, I remembered it differently. I remember just going to the doctor and getting diagnosed. But when you were talking to me, you were saying how I'd been complaining and you've been taking me to the doctor for a long time.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that process? Like what it was like for me to actually get diagnosed and what you saw when I was getting sick?
I was actually angry when you got diagnosed. We've been going to the doctor for months for different ailments. Like one day you had pain in your left knee, the other day it was in your right knee, but you had joint pain. And we would go to the doctor, they'd give you whatever medication it is for anti-inflammatory, and then we go on. And then there were migraines. We took MRIs, nothing showed up. Again, they gave you medication and, it's just step by step, all these different ailments. And then finally, I think it was on a Saturday that you had a rash on your face. And that was it. We said, okay, something has to be wrong. Mm-hmm. Something is up. So we went to the emergency room and thankfully Dr. Patton was there and she listened to everything, all the symptoms. And she said, okay, she either has lupus or Lyme disease. And I was floored.
Yeah.
I was floored. I was angry. How can she say that she has a disease? She didn't take tests yet. No, it can't be. And it turns out that you had lupus nephritis. Mm-hmm. And it was that severe that she immediately made an appointment with the nephrologist. And I think it was like a day or so later that we got in, and he said that you needed to have a biopsy. Mm-hmm. So we went and we did that.
That was like the next day, right? We were in the biopsy.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then once the results came in, we're sitting at the doctor's office. Grandma was there with us. Mm-hmm. And he just dropped the bomb where it was, yes, you did have lupus nephritis. You were 6 months away from dialysis. If we we could either do just steroids, mm-hmm. or we could do the chemo. But he said, the other will just keep it going, mm-hmm. and it's a new method, but we went ahead and we did the chemo. And
But it wasn't just a one day went to the ER visit. This was,
No.
would you say it was a year, 2 years? How long were we going back and forth with the doctor?
Back and forth with the doctor. So I would say about 7, 8 months, if not longer. I mean, it's hard to tell because you're just focused on the day. You're not putting anything together. And, in our family, there were migraines. I get migraines. So I didn't put,
Well, why would you put it together?
Right.
But can you tell me that it really gets me that you said you were angry. What was it about getting the diagnosis that made you angry? Was it that nobody figured out before, or was it just mad at the world? Like, how could this be? What was the anger you think that you felt?
I don't know. At the time, I was angry that the doctor just diagnosed you and said you had a disease. All of a sudden, it's a disease where you had a rash on your face.
Right.
And there were other symptoms, but, I knew what lupus was. And because we had a family member that wasn't a blood relative, but she did pass away because it wasn't diagnosed or for a really, really long time. So I knew what it was. So I was angry. How could she say that? How could, she doesn't.
So kind of angry at the doctor. Like,
Yes.
how dare she diagnose my daughter when she
Yes.
just has a rash? And then to find out within a day that it's kidney failure, chemotherapy.
Yeah,
So,
it was like a bomb dropped.
So, I was 16. I didn't really know much about disease or lupus or anything. This was before Google, guys. So thank goodness. There was no internet to find out. But what was it like for you? I mean, I can only imagine. You were always so strong. I mean, in my memory, my mom never freaked out. It was just, you have to do this treatment. This is the best treatment. This is what the doctor says you got to do. And this is what you do. And so I just took it that way too. This is what I have to do. And I have to take these meds. I have to, and you kept me focused. You have to make sure you get your exams done because you have chemo, but you got to stay in the top 10 because you got to go to college. And, so it was you always kept me focused on my life and my purpose.
Right.
And I always just thought you were so strong. I did sometimes hear you crying in your bedroom. I did, but I never saw that. And you always told me it could be worse. This isn't you're going to be fine. And it was just, you kept me so grounded and so focused. But when we were just talking, you told me that wasn't necessarily how you felt.
It's unbelievable when we were talking about it the other day, how much I just, what am I looking for? How much I blocked that whole experience, that whole time. It just blocked it out. And then when we were talking, it just kind of filtered back. And
that you block it out now.
I still do, because it was an extremely painful time having your child having to go through that. We were saying, let it be me. Why her? But you have to keep a strong face.
Yeah. Well, you did. Not everybody does.
If it's our family or the way the women handle things in the family, is that this is what it is. This is what we have to do. And that's it. And that's what we do. We go step by step by step by step.
Yes.
And during the day, that's exactly what we did. Mm-hmm. At night, it was a little breakdown. But yes.
I never saw the breakdowns. I never saw it, and it was just, I saw Grandma. When Grandma was on her knees and begging God, take me and spare her. That was, I'll never forget that. It was one of the most.
She even bought you a car.
I know.
So you wouldn't have to take the school bus.
Well, and part of me wonders now, she didn't know if I was going to make it that much longer. So at least at 16, I got a car. But that was the only, Grandma was so tough. And that was the only moment I ever saw her in that way. But you were always
she never
so
cries.
strong.
Grandma never cries, not even when her parents died. She just keeps it in. But with you, that was the first time I've ever seen her cry. Yeah.
And this is, I'm sure a lot of people can relate. This, people think about being ill as a one person experience, but it's not. It's not. It's not. It's a family experience. And I think, it wasn't until I became a mother that I truly understood how much you must have suffered that whole time. Because for me, it was, okay, I have this illness, but it was just a thing I had to do. I have to take these pills, I have to do chemotherapy, and I also have to get straight A's, and I have to go to college, and I have to do, so it just became a part of my life. And I never let it become my identity. You wouldn't have allowed that. It was just, this is just a thing you have. Everybody's got something. You would tell me everybody's got something. Some people's parents get divorced. Some people have, emotional
Cancer.
abuse. Some people are in a wheelchair. Everyone has something. And you know what? It could be worse. And I believed that. I listened to it. I believed that. But now as a mom, I just know how much it must have been just constant terror for you.
You don't think of it that way at the time. You know how when you're going through a situation, and that for me, that's any situation. I am going to be strong. We're going to do what we need to do, and then fall apart later. Do you remember when you used to get your chemo?
Yeah.
And the first time when we went, you was thin. The nurse kept jabbing you, and finally got the needle in, and okay, you had your treatment. The second time we went, you were squeezing my hand so tight. My jewelry was digging in. I had to learn not to wear jewelry because and also asking for the phlebotomist,
The IV team.
Because I wouldn't let the nurses touch you after that. That was it. That you're not going through that again.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a difficult time watching you sitting through the chemo. Yeah.
And that you would bring, like at the time, my parents had pizza places, so you would bring pizza for everyone getting chemo, and we didn't know yet that dairy was bad, right? We know that I always just saw you as this positive person, that was just,
Yeah.
You always made me feel calm.
Well, you weren't, Brooke. You were more than that. I always felt that you were special, and even when you were sick, you always did what you were supposed to do. I never had to push you, cry, just beg, whatever it is that parents do when their kids are sick. I never had to do that. You always followed the rules. You followed my direction. Even when there was spring break and the kids were going away, and you never complained to me that I can't go. You knew you couldn't go because you couldn't be in the sun or whatever, but you never complained to me. You knew what you had to do, and you did it. And I think that strength, that mental strength also had something to do with you just being getting remission, any kind of remission.
Yeah. Well, our family comes from tough people too. My mom's parents are Holocaust survivors. So I grew up hearing stories of people starving through the war, right? Just doing what they had to do. They had no food, but they had to work. They had to get through it. They didn't know if there was going to be any end in sight, but each day was survival.
Right. You
get up, you do what you have to do, and eventually it's going to work out, right? And my grandmother always said to her dying day, I'm a lucky girl. Who survives the Holocaust and says they're lucky? But she felt it, because she did survive and she did make it. And she had that fortitude too, where she just always found the positive. She always found a way through, and they felt lucky. Yeah. And so for me,
every day was blessed.
Right. And so I think that also was such a huge part of it for me, is I knew that that's life. Yeah. Whatever comes at you, you do it, you deal with it, and it's going to work out. You just have to take it day by day, thing by thing, and you don't complain about how hard it is, because at least I did have food on the table. Yeah. And I wasn't being persecuted. I wasn't, I think it all came from that. But it's an amazing thing, because I never felt depressed. I never felt bad for myself. And I feel like a lot of that came from you, that it's nothing to feel bad about. You just keep going.
I don't think I would let you. It was like, snap out of it.
But what was it like for you as I got older? Because I know for me, I got used to having lupus. It just was a thing, that I go to school. I have a sense of humor. There's things about me. And one of the things happens to be that I have lupus, but I just managed it. You know, when I was done with the chemo, I took my meds for however long I needed to. Then in medical school, I got the blood clots. Oops. Now I got to take blood thinners. But even when I got sick again, I would feel bad for about a couple weeks, like, okay, this happened, I have to deal with it. And then it would just be normal again. Like now I give myself injections every day, but it's just my normal life. But how was it for you? Were you able to go back to normal, or how long were you feeling?
You just leaving the house, that was stress. That was more stress, because when you were home, I had a little bit more control. I could see what's going on. When you left the house and you went off to college, I didn't know if you were going to do the late nights and staying up and stressing. Well, college is stressful, especially Carnegie Mellon.
Yeah.
And then medical school, you know, they say don't have stress. You can't get tired. And what is medical school?
That was the one time I didn't listen.
Although once you got sick, what did you want to do? This is what you wanted to do. You wanted to become an endocrinologist?
Oh, no, originally a rrheumatologist.
A rheumatologist,
so that
that's it.
Yeah.
You wanted to become a rheumatologist so you could
help people
with lupus. Since then, but then later on, you wanted to do every single.
Once I went there, I liked everything.
Yeah.
But what was it like for you? Like did you feel relief? Like when I went to my first remission, was there relief, like everything's fine? Or were you always constantly waiting for the shoe to drop?
If you remember, once the doctor said, okay, we can take you off all your meds, I said, no.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was afraid. I was afraid you were going to relapse. So we went to, is it NIH?
Went to the NIH. That was when they wanted to do another year of chemo, and I said I didn't want to. So we went to NIH, and they said we agree. But did we go back again?
We went back because I was
that.
afraid. I was afraid to take you off your meds, and I felt they were the specialists. And if they said it's okay, then okay. And they said, yeah, whatever the doctors were doing, you were in remission, and it's okay. But that was scary too. You know, I wanted you to get off your meds, yet I didn't want you to get off your meds.
So what was it like when I got sick again? That was when the blood clots happened in medical school.
I don't know. That kind of, at that point, I think I was starting to feel this is part of your life. Things are going to crop up, you know, when with your vision, with all these others, you kept having more symptoms. So at that point, I felt that that's going to be part of your life. You're going to be symptomatic. As long as it wasn't to the point of your kidneys failing, I guess I had to accept that. That was it.
Well, when we were talking, you know, the other day about this, I was actually surprised because I thought that once I was on my meds and everything, that you kind of got into the routine and everything was normal. But you told me that you were pretty much scared the whole time.
Yeah.
That once I was diagnosed, you were never the same.
Right.
Which I didn't realize.
Oh, it totally changed my whole perspective of life. You know, where the drive to acquire, to, you know,
like for money
or for houses, whatever, cars, all of that just didn't matter. And my only focus was you. So my life changed. My whole perspective of life changed. And it's still the same. It's still the same, you know?
The same, that it changed and it never went back.
It never went back. I still feel the same way. Yeah. You know?
It shows you what's important in life when you can lose somebody.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So when did you actually, or have you yet? Do you feel safe now that I'm okay? Or was there a moment that you can remember when you finally realized that I'm okay and you don't have to worry anymore? Or not? Are you still worried?
No, actually, I'm not worried anymore. I'm not. Once you went to the doctor, you went to, what was it, a neonatal?
When I was pregnant with Solomon.
You were pregnant with Solomon.
Which you didn't like.
No, I was very upset about that because I was afraid.
That
was, again, another stress on your body. I was going to carry.
My mom wanted to get pregnant for me and carry the baby.
But I don't know if it was after Solomon or after Alex, when the doctor said, this girl allegedly has lupus. There was no sign anywhere, no markers, nothing. And you were feeling great. You had the kids, no relapse. I think then I was able to, okay.
She's okay.
She's okay.
Yeah. And this year, my first time I had negative blood tests was, I think, September 2005. So this is 14 years now that I've had no markers for lupus, but I had it for 13 years. But I think it does take time to realize it's real. I know for me, I didn't know that, even though my lab markers were normal, I didn't really realize I didn't have lupus anymore until after I had Solomon. So it'd been like 5 years before, even as a doctor, I went, you know what, I don't have lupus anymore. Because it's like, it was a part of my life. It was a part of just who I was and my daily struggle. And again, I just wondered if it kind of imprinted on you, where there's still a part of you that thinks you have to worry, or if you're like, okay.
I have complete faith in you now. I do. I mean, and even I have autoimmune disease also, hypothyroidism.
Yeah. You had RA
arthritis, rheumatoid arthritis, and always in pain. And here I have you teaching, and I'm still not following the rules.
You weren't.
I wasn't. I was in pain. I was going to the doctors. I had surgery on my knee. I
had to stop talking to you about it because you weren't listening.
I wasn't. And then it was like a year ago, I came to visit, and I couldn't walk up and down the steps. I was in agony. I was like pulling myself up the steps. And I'm listening to you talking to a patient, and I'm saying, what am I doing? What am I doing?
The light came on.
Yeah, the light finally came. How many years is that? The light finally came on. And when I got home, I went strictly on the protocol. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's amazing that I don't have the pain in my knees anymore. I'm here. I'm able to walk up and down the steps. You go up and down the stairs,
and you lost 20 pounds.
And I lost 25 pounds.
25 pounds. We can't leave out the 5.
No, that's big.
Hey, it's big.
That's a size.
But I think this is an important point too, because people often ask me, how do I change other people? And I say, you can't. First of all, you can't. People change when they're ready. Think about how hard it is to change your own diet, to change your own lifestyle. It's really hard. And that's why I teach so much about how do you become mentally prepared and psychologically able to make the changes you need for your life, because it's so difficult to do, right? So how do you make someone else do it? You can't. Right? You can bring it up to them. You can let them know there's resources. You can let them know you're there to help them when they're ready. But ultimately, you can't do it for somebody. And so here I am, I have best-selling book, Goodbye Lupus. I teach people how to get rid of autoimmune disease. And yet I would argue with my mom about this because there's food addictions, right? Yeah. I mean, at the time, you were taking care of your mom who was sick. Grandma always had junk food in the house. Of course, she could eat this much of it. Yeah. You couldn't do that, right? And I'd say, Mom, you don't have to be in pain. Don't get knee surgery. Eat this, eat this. And then it became a thing. And I finally had to say, you know what? I love you. I just want to be your daughter and you be my mom. And let's not talk about nutrition or health anymore. And if and when you're ready, I'm here.
But that's when I realized that it wasn't the food addiction. It wasn't the food. And it really wasn't the food. It was me. It was my mental attitude. And once that changed, it becomes easy.
Food is easy once you make up your mind.
Once you make up your mind. And I don't have very much variety. Mm-hmm. I don't care. Your knees work. And that's the thing. I remember when you called me and you went, I've been on your plan for 2 weeks and I've lost all this weight and my pain's gone. And I went, oh my God, Mom, I'm so proud of you. Yeah. And I'm at work and people are making fun of me. How can you eat that?
But the funny
It has
thing
no
is,
taste. I don't care.
you were sending me clients even though you hadn't done it yet.
Yeah,
you have to
that's
meet
true.
my daughter. She'll fix your own. So
That's true.
you're meeting people, sending them to me. I'm helping them get rid of their rheumatoid arthritis, get rid of their hypothyroid, get rid of their lupus. And then you're still eating cheese. But you weren't ready yet.
I wasn't ready.
And that's the thing is you have to be ready. Nobody can do this for you. No one can, because once you decide, the food's easy.
Yeah.
But you have to be
Yeah.
ready to do that.
Yeah.
It's so awesome that I'm so glad that you're sharing that. And that's the thing is we're all on a journey, right? I mean, the same thing happened for my husband's parents. Here we are on stages, on magazine covers, in documentaries, teaching people how to reverse disease. And his own parents, high cholesterol, obesity, high blood sugar.
Mhm.
And we had, he had to really get emotional with them and be really vulnerable with them before they were walk out on them on Christmas,
Yeah.
before they were willing to try. And of course they tried, they went on the smoothies, they went plant-based, they got off all their medicines, blood sugar normal, cholesterol normal. Dad is a healthy weight for the first time in his life. He's a skinny guy now, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't automatic. It's just one of those things where people make the choice when they're ready to make the choice. And so all you can do is make the choice for yourself and be a great influence to others. And then not try to force it on people because nobody wants to be forced. They're just going to want to get away from you and shut you down.
True.
So let me ask you this. First of all, thanks for sharing all that because it's not easy. And you're doing an awesome job.
Oh, no.
I'm so proud of you. But do you have any tips for parents who have sick kids? And what I love is, things that really helped you get through it or things that maybe you wish you'd done that you hadn't while you were getting through it. Because like I said, I feel like this impacted you even more than me during the times that I was really sick at home. So what would you say?
I don't know if I would have changed anything. I think what we did worked. I mean, as long as I've gotten you to do what you needed to do, that was it. And I just had to stay focused. Had to stay focused on the journey and not think of what's going to happen, but just step by step by step. And
that worked for me too.
And that
worked for me too. Yeah. But in terms of your own emotional health, do you feel like there's things?
I don't know.
Because you told me that sometimes you see parents posting on my page, like I have a sick kid and there's a part of your heart that wants to reach out.
And then I don't know what to say. and that's what happens. And then when I finally think I have it figured out, I can't find the post anymore. So I don't know.
Well, you've always been amazing to me. And that's why I always say that you really did save my life because I feel like there were so many other parents who would have spiraled. They would have freaked out. They might have over told their kids things and you were just such a rock for me. What I would want even more though is, if you have sick kids, you also need to take care of yourself. I see so many parents who I help them with the diet for their kids and we're trying to make sure your kids still have fun, that they still feel connected to their childhood. Don't make their life about fear and medicines. Let them enjoy themselves. Let them choose their life path. Don't, even though you were afraid of me being a doctor, you never warned me against it.
No.
You guys always told me to follow my heart and be what I wanted to be. So that was a really important thing. But also you have to take care of yourself because I see so many people where I'll say to the mom, so now what are you doing to take care of yourself? And they're like, myself? I don't know. I'm freaking out all the time. I'm making my kids raw vegetables. I'm worried that the mom's going to break down next. And I feel like that happened to you. I got lupus first, but then you got rheumatoid arthritis. You were starting to get symptoms when I was in college.
Yeah.
So I left home
That's
and then you got sick.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's really important that you take care of yourself and know that when you're taking care of yourself, it's also taking care of your kid.
I think that's what happens when if you're not thinking about it, if you're not dealing with it mentally, your body deals with it. And
100%.
That's what happened. I think I started falling apart at that point.
Yeah.
Started going to like you.
Going
to each doctor, and each doctor gave me, I was getting depressed, antidepressant, arthritis, here's a pill for that. And I still didn't put things together, even though I went through it with you.
No, but now I'm happy that you're healthy.
Oh,
you look beautiful. You feel well. And now you got grandkids. Look, I did it. I made 2 grandkids.
And that's another reason why I have to stay healthy. I want to be here for
and
them
I love
growing up.
Yeah.
I want to be here and seeing them graduate college, getting married. And so, now it's all, sorry, Brooke, but now it's all about them, not you.
I know. I'm not the favorite anymore. That was it. I've lost my position as the star of the family. And now my two beautiful boys are. But it's wonderful. And they love you. And that's the coolest thing is my mom gets up and she's making them green smoothies for breakfast because that's what we do. We have green smoothies for breakfast, right? When I was a kid, the special treat was chocolate chip pancakes. Green smoothies, right? But it's wonderful, and I just love our family, and I really appreciate. Look, you can exhale. I'm gonna be closing it up now. You can breathe. You did all. Hey guys, how amazing did she do? Her first time ever going on camera. This is not something she's ever willing to do normally. We kind of sprung it on her, but I really appreciate it because I really feel like people will connect with your heart, and it's important. This is a family thing. And I did not do this on my own. One of the biggest reasons I'm here right now is because of this lady right here. So thank you, Mom. I love you.
I love you.